Quite a few of you have asked me to make a breakdown video specifically talking about all the parts I used for my custom RS3 Pro gimbal build. So that's what this video is about. I'm going to walk you through all the different pieces that I used and show you exactly how I set it up. And if you're new here and want to know any of the equipment we use or the music we use to make our videos, all links are in the description, including all of the links for this specific gimbal build. Let's jump in. Alright, first off, I want to say if you haven't seen the other video, I would suggest watching that first because it gives you some context to why I'm making this video. This setup allows me to film a lot longer on set and therefore it's a lot more convenient to use. So this is the RS3 Pro gimbal by DJI. And I've removed the battery grip. Instead, I'm using the power base from Digital Photo. I worked with them to come up with a third version of this for specifically the RS3 Pro. Originally, they had one for the RS2, but it didn't have a NATO clamp up here and didn't really fit too well with the RS3 gimbal. We came to a final product that works perfectly, and I'm very happy that it has the NATO mount because then I can keep the dual handles, which I'm used to. Now, without the battery grip that comes with the gimbal, there's no way to power this unless you use external power. So on the other side, there's a 2-pin connector here. That is used with an external battery system. These are the Micro Series 98 watt-hour batteries by Indie Pro. This is what powers the gimbal instead of the battery grip. From here, you have D-tap out that goes to the 2-pin that connects to the power base supply on the back there. If you buy the power base from Digital Photo, you do get the D-tap to 2-pin cable. That's very convenient. And then I secure this to my belt or pants using this belt clip, and then you run the cable to the gimbal. It's a good length. It's like 3 feet or so, and it's long enough that, you know, when your arms are extended, it works just fine. I'm using the small rig dual handle system. They connect to either side of the RS3 Pro gimbal using the NATO mounts. Having the extra secure plate here to keep the base secure, it allows for an extra NATO mount so I can keep using the dual handles. And then at the bottom, I'm just using a general tripod base from, I think it was like our RS1 gimbal that we bought, but I believe the RS3 comes with its own as well. So at the top here where you connect the camera, where the motors are, that's where this setup happens. I got rid of the original plate that came with the RS3 and switched it for this small rig plate. It's shorter, meaning it has less weight. That's better for gimbal use. Specifically though, this is another question that a lot of you asked. How did I secure the monitor to the back of the camera? That's done in sort of a unique way where at the bottom of the plate, it actually has a 1/4-inch threaded hole that you can attach this little sort of magic arm to. So this small rig plate that's compatible with the RS3 gimbal, as well as this little sort of friction arm made by Small Rig again. And then I'm using the Small HD swivel mount, which is made for monitors and makes it very easy to rotate the monitor and get it exactly where you want. The way this works, that took me a little bit to figure out. I went to Home Depot and I bought little tiny lock washers and I mounted it in between the 1/4-inch and the 1/4-inch threaded hole so that when I attach the friction arm with the lock washer into the plate, once I secure it, because of the lock washer, it's not going anywhere. It is tight and they're like 25 cents per one or whatever the cost is. Then for the monitor, as you'll notice, I'm not using a battery with this monitor. With my setup, I'm actually powering the monitor as well with the battery system that goes on my belt. I'm able to do that by using the output that comes with the Digital Photo power base. It has D-tap out. So I bought another cable, which is D-tap out. I'm not sure of the exact size, but I have linked everything I have below. But in the case of the monitor, this is the Small HD Action 5 monitor. Unfortunately, it's been discontinued since I made this video. I actually really like this. I'm not sure why they discontinued it. I have found a different monitor that's very similar, and I've linked that below, as well as the cable that goes from D-tap to whatever that other monitor is. I think it's the like Ninja or something like that, but it's a similar size and weight, and it'll be a comparable monitor to what I'm using. Now that I've gone through all the parts, I'll build the gimbal and you can see it all set up. So the first thing is we, of course, mount the camera to the small rig plate. And then that's basically the setup when it's not on the gimbal and you can move this monitor back to get access to the LCD screen. And then you can push the monitor back. So you can get the monitor very close to the camera, which helps with balancing. You want a very close center of gravity. And with this build, you can still see the LCD, make changes on the screen because it's mounted just beside it. So let's go ahead and pop this on the gimbal. I won't fully balance the gimbal at this stage, but that's good enough for now. So I'll just lock that off. So the cable that comes from the D-tap output of the power base, I have it just running around to the back through the plate area here, or the connecting bracket, and then up the handle, and then that runs up and goes to the input to power the monitor. And then you have your battery. Then the 2-pin that runs from where the battery is on your belt goes to the back of the power base. And then of course you have your HDMI cable. This is a right angle, so it comes out of the monitor and then goes straight down and into the side of the camera. And that essentially is how the gimbal is set up. Now, for context, the reason I think it's so important to have the monitor mounted behind it is because when you're holding the setup and you're doing all your camera moves, it can be very difficult to see what you're filming. So with this setup, it's literally in front of your eyes always. So to me, this is like the most convenient setup. This is naturally where I would want to look when filming. If you're doing handheld, you're looking at the screen. I've seen other builds where they mount the monitor on like the side or at the very bottom and their neck is down with their hands up. To me, I tried like 6 or 7 different types of builds where the monitor was in different places, and none of them I was happy with. So it took me a few more months of messing around with things until I finally settled on this build. Again, I would highly suggest using the different camera plate with the lock washer, the friction arm, and the small HD monitor swivel mount going into the monitor, because then it allows you to have it at the perfect spot. You have much better posture, and with the gimbal build not having the battery weight on the actual gimbal because you're offsetting it by having it at your belt, that means you're saving the weight of this, and it's a pretty heavy battery. And again, because this is a larger battery, you can film for many more hours on set. So that's how I set up my custom build. Again, I will leave all the links in the description so you can get exactly the stuff I'm using, or in the monitor's case, something similar. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to see more videos from us in the future. We have over 200 videography related videos, lots of stuff for you to learn from. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.